Hey everyone, I'm William Strife, and today I want to talk about online DRM. You know, for the most part, publishers have never liked PC games, and they've never gotten along with the people who play them. Quite simply put, this is because many publishers fear users actually having real control over the very games and software they buy. So naturally, after the rise of Steam and the growth of the PC game market as a result, publishers began to waltz with a market they were never really comfortable being in the same room with. They never learned how to stop jumping at old shadows they always feared before. Specifically, piracy. For some reason, publishers have always seen piracy as both an omnipotent and omnipresent beast, something that sees and steals all without limit. This has never been the case though, and while piracy can be, and for many game makers is a problem, it's far from the monolithic monster they've imagined it to be. And from those unreal fears, more real, significant problems are born, ones that actually hurt games far more than piracy does. The real problems began when publishers came to the conclusion that they needed to put down piracy like a lame dog. But just how to do that? Pirates always seem to get around DRM, and it's expensive to develop new software that they'll just crack in a few weeks. But wait, what about online? Everybody loves a game connected to a community. We'll just make the game connect to the internet. Wait, what's that? What if the game doesn't have a multiplayer feature? Pfft, no problem, we'll just make them log in anyway. If they aren't online, the game won't run. Or better yet, how about we take away the ability to save games locally? They'll have to connect to our servers if we hold their save data hostage, and they'll have to buy our game if they want to play it. Oh boy, this is such a great idea. Why didn't we think of it sooner? As you can imagine, or maybe experienced, this didn't go over well with users, and the rose-tinted glasses the publishers were wearing shattered not long after they put these plans to use. Even though the ideas they came up with to thwart their big bad piracy boogeyman were indeed innovative, it was the worst type of innovation. Innovation for disservicing paying customers. Their efforts were only spurred forth by a desire to protect their pocketbooks, and not to serve their customers who were, in many cases, their loyal fans. Two key examples of this exploitation were Diablo 3 and SimCity, which represent the pinnacle of the square peg of online features jammed into the round hole of single-player gaming. In the case of Diablo 3, it was loot drops. The most critical feature that made the game fun was nerfed so badly it became a chore to actually play the game, and the entire reason it was done was to create economic balance for a real money auction house, where, no surprise, Blizzard naturally took a cut of every transition that took place on it. Then there's SimCity, which was pushed to market before the game was even ready, being riddled with bugs, and in many cases is still broken to this day. However, the worst of it all was how both of these games were predominantly built around a single-player experience, yet required you to log into online servers to play, which opens the can of worms, which is online-only single-player games. When either of these titles first landed, barely anyone could connect to the official servers, because they were swamped with so many people trying to log in at once. Imagine that. Lots of people trying to play a new game in a franchise that hasn't seen an installment in over a decade. That awkward moment when the servers are too full for you to play your single-player game. I digress. The point is, these games, and many like it, don't require online support to be worth buying. Yet, publishers have such an innate lack of trust for users that they don't find us worthy of playing their games without their supervision. However, as some of you, most of you no doubt know, there is a silver lining to this story. As would be expected, when a publisher, developer, or any company burns its user base, it affects sales. After major backlash over overloaded servers, online-only functionality, and simple poor balancing, both Blizzard and EA, at least in part, reversed what they defined as necessary for a quality experience. Diablo was rebalanced, and its online auction house was retired. Meanwhile, SimCity received a dedicated offline mode. But that's not all. The entire movement of publishers trying to control their content, even after they've sold it, affected the console market for a brief period as well. Lest we forget, Microsoft tried to tell us not long ago that buying an Xbox game didn't mean you owned the game. Well, that too was met with major backlash, and the Big M relented on their ownership policy. All of this said, it really plays into the fact that the video game industry is still growing. It's reached a stage where it's kind of like a rebellious teenager, and companies are learning just how far they can push their luck before it breaks. That's hardly a perfect analogy, but you get the idea. How many excuses can I sling? What type of fast talk will work? What can I do to get things my way, and everyone will just accept it? At this point, I'm hopeful that publishers and the industry as a whole have learned just how far you can push content control before people just won't take it. If we never see such oppressive forms of data rights management again, it'll be too soon, but God help us if it's not over. And the worst is yet to come. Let's hope that's not the case though, and our days of DRM nightmares are behind us. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to hear me cover a specific topic next time, suggest it in the comments. Also, if you want to have a more detailed discussion over this video, you can check out my subreddit. There's a link in the description. Until next time though, Strife out.